I met Buster a couple years ago when I was working for the TFCC. He's from up in Lubbock, and we were laid over there, and he let us crash at his house, and his old dog come up on the porch and had a mouthful of porcupine quills. He said, "You know how to get porcupine quills out?" I said, "It's really easy. All he needs is a pair of pliers." So we went outside, and Buster got him a pair of pliers and went to the old dog, and the dog's just shaking, just sitting there. And I said, "You might want to tape his mouth shut before you pull that first one, or that second one's going to be awful hard to get." But we got all of them out and all, and I hear he's doing well. And one other time he got into the porcupine, I think they killed the porcupine. He's going. So Buster has been a good friend to the movement, of the Cowboy Church movement, ever since it started. For, I guess, you've been involved in it since the beginning, haven't you? Close to it? Yeah. We're looking at 12, 13 years. So I'm going to let you, Buster talk.
Is that on now? Is that okay? Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, thank you for letting me share with you. First off, I want to brag on your band. I've been in lots of cowboy churches. This is a good band. I know y'all know that, but they're really good. Now, I know you're really proud of your place here. Uh, just appreciate you letting us share with you. I just want to, I know y'all know about it, but I want to refresh your memory a little bit about the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, what's available there, the partnership that we share together. And one of the things that we do is try to provide uh, biblically sound, culturally relevant resources. We have a coach assigned to each new cowboy pastor that helps him through the first year as he's hitting different obstacles as he goes along the way. We have a crisis intervention person. In fact, we're the person that does that now. We're trying to make it a crisis prevention instead of intervention. So we have a man that, if your church needs help in any area that of this kind of nature, he's available through the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. You just need to call and let them know. We also, I know y'all know about these things, but I just want to go over them again. We put out a newspaper, every other month. We have Pastors Gathering, Pastor and Wives Conference, and of course, I know you know about the youth camp. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. We have our annual gathering, which is going to be over at El Dorado here, September, I think it's 21, 22. We have seminary and college training for pastors or even workers in the church that would like further study in those areas. We put on schools, and I know y'all know about that also, but we've branched out and putting schools on in other states now. We're going to be having one up at Whitewright October the 13th. I hope some of y'all can attend. At those schools, we have elder training, youth, children, audit team, arena training, chuck wagon, band, lay pastors, training for any kind of work that you do in the cowboy church. And these schools, I know, have helped a lot of people. Another thing that we do with the AFCC is we try to provide a platform where pastors can communicate with one another, where they can fellowship with each other, where they can also relate to the Baptist entities that help us. And I know, I think, didn't you say, JJ, that the Baptist men came in and helped y'all with this building? Our Baptist General Convention of Texas provides a lot of help to cowboy churches, and we appreciate that. Another thing that we do, we try to harness the resources that it's going to take to sustain and start churches in this Western culture. Talk a little bit about the youth camps. I know y'all been involved with those. In 09, in our West camp, we had 150 people. In 2010, we had 350. Last year, we had almost 600. This year, we had 700. Out of 3 different camps, we have one in East Texas. This year, they had one in Alabama. Out of 3 camps, we had 2,200 kids that attended and over 200 salvations. Folks, that's a 1 out of 10. If we could do that good with the contacts that we make, that we do at youth camp, that is a real solid investment in the Lord's kingdom and in young lives. Another thing that I thought was interesting, that our cowboy churches, over half of the cowboy churches have helped start another cowboy church. We make up 2% of the cowboy churches in the Baptist General Convention of Texas, and we represent 10% of the baptisms. Most of those are adults. Another thing that we do, most cowboy churches help with the cooperative program of the Baptist General Convention of Texas, and that's the way we reach out beyond our walls and our doors and help other people. And annually, our cowboy churches will give back $500,000 to the Baptist General Convention of Texas for the investment that they put in us. Daphne, if you'll bring me that plaque, I'd like to present that to JJ and the church. We have a American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches emblem that we'd like to present y'all's church, and we hope you'll find a prominent place to put it up to remind y'all of the fellowship and the cooperation, I'm sorry, lose my words there, that we have between the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches and y'all as we all try to reach the Western culture for Christ. Thank you. Thank you, JJ. Thank you.
That's not prominent enough? Who said that? Well, we sure thank you, Buster. It's been a great ride, and I'm going to give you back your notes, because if I get them into mine, I'll be talking in the middle of something, and I'll be saying, people will be like, what in the world is he talking about? A lot of y'all know that, Terry and I came from Florida. The very first cowboy church that ever started was started by a gentleman named Ron Nolan in Waxahachie, Texas. And that church runs over 2,000. It's right on 287. You can't miss it. But that pastor, Gary Morgan, is the reason that I'm in Texas. I started writing him, and he finally just gave me my testimony and felt the Lord was calling me to the ministry. And he said, we're having a school in Bandera, Texas. How many of y'all know where Bandera, Texas is? South Texas. He said, if you can get to San Antonio, I'll have someone pick you up. We'll provide a room for you, and we'll send you to the school. And it turned out that our home church in Florida sent us. We went to one of these schools that Buster was talking about. We met with some people. I met with Ron. I met with some other cowboy pastors, and long story short, in 7.5 years, 8 years now, I've been working in the ministry, in the cowboy church ministry, starting and pastoring cowboy churches. I spent a year working with the TFCC. Great experience that I had there, but nothing's greater than pastoring this church right here. This is my love. With that being said, I want you all to pray for me. Don't want anybody start freaking out, flipping out, whatever. I've been asked to be the vice president of the Texas Baptist Men's Western Heritage Ministries. I explained to the director and them that I'm not leaving this church. God has not called me away from being a pastor. It's not a full-time position. It's a full-time position, but it's not a 40-hour week deal. It's a couple days a month, going to meetings and representing the BGCT at schools and stuff and all, and kind of getting the cowboy church plugged into the resources that the General Baptist Convention of Texas has through the Texas Baptist Men. We know better than anybody as we look at this building how important these guys are to the ministry, and they have a life impact that's immediate to a church. This building would have never got done. We'd have never got our financing. We'd have never been able to break ground on this building if it wouldn't have been for the labor that was donated by the Texas Baptist Men. So pray with me and my wife. The elders have been praying this week. I'm going to give them an answer next week. But I wanted y'all to know before you heard from somebody or someone said, y'all started thinking I was leaving the church or whatever, that is not happening. When I leave Happy Trails Cowboy Church, it's going to be one or two ways. God's going to drag me out by my ear, or y'all going to carry me out on a box. Well, it'll be three ways. You could run me out on a rail.
Release the youth.
How many of y'all on Facebook? It's all right. I want you to admit it in public now. How many of y'all are on Facebook? Yeah. Oh, let's release the kids so ranch hands into the buckaroos. But how many of y'all are on Facebook? I'm not on Facebook. A lot of y'all know my feelings about this social media. I don't believe anyone should be allowed to be on it until they're 21 years old with taking a sobriety test. I think there's just too much stuff that happens on this social media that it has lifelong consequences and repercussions, and these kids of ours don't know that and all. But I got to asking my wife about Facebook and all, and I found out that if you're on Facebook and I want to be your friend, I got to send you a friend request, right? I got to request to be your friend, right? And then if you say yes, I guess there's different levels of friends that I can be, right? I can't, I can only look at this or I can only do that and all. But if I'm going to be a full-blown friend, if I'm going to be a true friend, if I'm going to be a wide-open friend, that means I get access to your Facebook. And I can go in this thing they call a wall, which I guess is supposed to be like a big old board that you can just put notes and pictures and stuff on. Folks, I've never seen this. She gets on it and stuff and all, and she's like, look. I'm like, don't want to. Don't want to be tempted to go there. But that wall, people can put stuff on your wall. And how many of y'all have had to take stuff off your wall? How many of y'all have had to actually go to someone and say, you can't be my friend at that level anymore because you keep putting this stuff on the wall? Because when that wall reflects you, right? When someone goes to your Facebook and they open up that Facebook and they go to your wall, they're seeing a reflection of you. And you allow these people access to that. And you allow them to do stuff. We have a Facebook page for the church. Am I correct? I want to make sure I was right before I went any further. And we have people that monitor that. And if something gets put on there, they will send them a little note saying that this is inappropriate, we're taking it down, please don't do it again. And if it continues, just ask them that, sorry, but no thanks, you can no longer be a friend. I wish that we put that much thought in decision making in our personal friends. You know, how many of you got 100 friends in Facebook? How many got 200 friends? How many got 300 friends? Come on, y'all don't even know that many people. 300 friends. I don't know 200 people, and I don't want half of them to be my friend. They get to be your friend. How? They're a friend of a friend. They request. You let them on. Seems to be the big thing now. I got 600 friends. 600 friends. You couldn't even name 600 names. 600 friends. You're letting someone be a friend that you don't even know. You're allowing someone access to your wall and on your Facebook, and you've never met them before. You've never had a conversation with them before. You don't even know what they look like. That picture could be a lie. But yet you've allowed them into your life to post stuff on your wall that reflects you. Isn't that kind of crazy? There's a ghost over here. You hear him? Isn't that crazy that we would do stuff like that? But social media has opened up this big desire to have this total number of friends. And I know all these people, and I got these friends. I got 400 friends. I got 500 friends. I got 600 friends. And we put absolutely, positively no thought into these people. I've heard my wife say, I don't even know who that person is. What do they want? They want to be my friend. I'm not saying don't get to know them. I'm not saying don't find out about them. But folks, before you start letting people post stuff on your wall, you should know a little more about them. Before you start letting friends in your life, you should know a little about them. Before you take an acquaintance as friend, so-and-so's brothers, cousins, uncles, sisters, aunts, mother's brother, and treating them like a buddy, and opening up your whole heart and life to them, and exposing yourself to them, you better make sure that they're a friend. Now, I'm not talking about the different levels of friends like that on Facebook. I guess you got a friend that can just get on, then you got a friend that can read stuff, and then you got no. You don't know? Wow, that was my one resource, and it don't know. I'm talking about true blue friends. You know, it was said to me many, many years ago, if you live your whole life and can count the number of your true friends on more than one hand, you've been very fortunate. I mean a true friend. Someone that you can call friend anytime, day or night. Okay, if you brought your Bibles with you, Paul tells us of such a friend. We're going to be in Philippians, we're going to be in chapter 2. But Paul tells us of a friend that he had. And he tells us the characteristics of this friend. And I believe it would be a good a good gauge, a good model, a good way to set up and use to judge our friends. How we bring people in. Now, I'm not talking about, well, if they don't meet this criteria, they can never be your friend. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying before they get in and where they can post stuff on this wall, you need to know these things about them. And there's got to be a few things that we know and understand about them. Paul said in Philippians 19, or 2, verses 19 through 21, he said, "But I trust in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you shortly, that I also may be encouraged when I know your state. For I have no one like-minded who will sincerely care for your state. For all seek their own, not the things which are of Christ Jesus. But you know his proven character, that is, as son with his father, he served with me in the gospel. Therefore I hope to send him at once, as soon as I see how it goes with me." The first thing that we find out that Paul says when you're choosing a friend that we know about Timothy is that he is like-minded. They have things in common. They think on the same wavelength. They think they can share stuff with it. And when you are like-minded, you have a trust and a bond with someone. You know, the Bible says, what good does light have with darkness? That bad company corrupts good people. Y'all have heard me say this many, many times. If you hang out in front of a barber shop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. I'll guarantee you. You hang around with them, sooner or later, you're going to get in a car you shouldn't get in. You're going to go into a place you shouldn't have got into. You're going to go into a place, but a true friend can be trusted not to take you there. See, Paul said, this guy's like-minded with me, and he's sincere about what he's doing. Don't you want a friend that's sincere to you? What that word that you read that in there, that sincerity, don't you want someone that sincerely cares about you? Not when you're sitting there and you're talking to them and you're pouring your heart out to them and they're going, yeah, 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 and they're watching something on the television. Yeah, what was that again? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hang up the phone, didn't hear a word you said. Sincerity. We want someone that we can just put our trust in, our hope in, our faith in. Someone that we know actually genuinely cares. What did Paul say? He said these other people, they kind of in it for themselves. You ever known someone want to be someone's friend because what's in it for me? What you got gained by being that person's friend? You ever known someone that it seems like they put a lot of value on themselves by who their friends are? You know, I know so-and-so, and I know so-and-so. I know a lot of people in the rodeo people want to talk about, in the rodeo world, that want to talk about who they know, what team roper they know, what calf roper they know, who they've been around. Paul says Timothy's sincere. He sincerely cares about you. He cares about the brother. He is like-minded as you. He shares in your suffering. When you hurt, he hurts. How many of y'all got a friend that when they're feeling down, it just really bums you out? How many of y'all got a friend that calls you every time they're down and you're like, I wish he'd stop calling? Folks, we want friends that are sincere. We want friends that care. Ones that we can put our trust in, that we can put our hope in. We want ones of people that feel the way we do, that are like-minded. You know, it's hard for someone to hitch their wagon to you and be sincere when they don't believe the same thing you believe. If they're not believing that God created the earth, if they're not believing that Jesus Christ was the Savior, how in the world are they going to be able to help you in times when you're down? What are they going to give you but worldly knowledge, which is not going to be a help to you? Knowledge that you're not going to want to receive. The devil loves to put so-called caring people in our lives. And I know at young ages, I got a friend, and he's also one of my customers, and he's raised 2 boys. And things have been good. And he found out he had a 15-year-old daughter. He kind of knew, you know, in the past that she was there, but they never had a relationship. Well, now they're starting to have a relationship. So now he's the daddy of a 15-year-old girl. he is hating life. It started off so sweet, so caring, so loving. They went on vacation to Indiana, and he was going to introduce her to his grandma and his grandpa and stuff. And she was so sincere wanting to do this. And when she got up there, it was all about the drama. She didn't know enough about these people to be sincere about them. She's in a new world and a new family. Man, she's 15. But she couldn't be sincere with people she didn't know. You know, and when I talked with him, I said, you know, you're really asking a lot of any 15-year-old to show up into a family and just throw their arms around them and just, you know, be part of the family. Because she doesn't know if they're like-minded. She's going in there, she doesn't know if they like them. She doesn't know if she's going to like them. But you really ask a lot for her to be sincere without the knowledge of knowing. And folks, we do that with people all the time. We call them into our group, and we have no idea what their thoughts are and what they believe and where they put their strength and their trust. And folks, I'm telling you, if you start hanging out with bad company, I've learned this. I've been a supervisor in a couple different plants. I can take 6 great workers, and I can throw one unmotivated, poor worker in that mix. And in 4 months, I will not have 7 great workers. I will have 7 mediocre workers. How could that be? They look over there and see old Bob ain't doing nothing. He's still getting paid every Friday. Well, I'm over here busting my hump. I can draw the same check. Bad draws good down. You can be an influence to people. You can be encouragement to people. But I'm going to tell you, if you start hooking horns with them, if you start hooking your wagon to them and you start going down the road, you will not affect them as much as they will affect you. It's a proven fact. They're not sincere. They lose that trustworthiness. The second thing Paul said about Timothy was Timothy was available. You ever call a buddy and say, hey man, I need your help? Oh man, I'd love to help you, you know, but I got to go, I'm painting the garage. Or man, dude, I'd be there, but, you know, and then you come find out a month later through conversation that he went fishing. He was down on the golf course. He went for a roping. Oh yeah, I was going to paint the garage, but Bob called. I wanted to go roping, and I didn't have enough paint, so I was out of brushes, and I went to the roping. You know, as Paul did say, hey, I want to check with Timothy. I'm going to see if I can talk Timothy into coming to you guys. Maybe, possibly, if Timothy ain't busy, I'll get him to come see you. He said, I'm going to send Timothy. He said, I'm going to call my good friend Timothy. And he's like-minded like me, and he loves the Lord like I do, and he knows you're all in need, and he's going to come because he's available. He's a true friend. He's sincere. He's trustworthy, and he's going to be available. Our old friend in West Texas just passed away, and I said this at his funeral. That man never, any time or day or night, refused to get out of his bed and come pull us out of the mud, did he? And that was just so he could rub my nose in it for the next month. To everybody he's seen about how dumb that Florida boy is that keeps driving out there in the middle of that wet pasture, getting stuck. Hey man, I knew there had to be one way that you could get there. And evidently there's not. So I ended up putting a road in. But he was a man that I could call on. All I had to do was pick up the phone. If I was broke down in Fort Stockton, if I was down in San Angelo, and I said, Euless, I need you, I'll be there. He's going to go out, get dressed, get in his truck, he's going to come. If I needed him, he was going to be there. He was available to me 24/7. Isn't that what we really want in a friend? Isn't that what we really should look for in a friend? Shouldn't that be one of the qualifications? How many of y'all want a part-time friend? You're going roping, they're your friend. You're going to go help bale hay, they ain't your friend. Heck, they don't even know you. They lost your number. They'd be like, JJ who? Sorry, you got the wrong number. You're going to go do what? You're going to go cut calves? No. I need a friend that when I need him, he's available. Because really, when you think about it, what good is a friend if he's not available in your time of need? I mean, Paul was kind of in a needy point right here. Do y'all know where Paul was right now? He's in prison. He's getting ready to get his head cut off. Paul's having some rough times. Who was with him? Timothy. You reckon it was kind of dangerous for Timothy to be with Paul in Rome when they were killing all the Christians at that time? Probably hanging out with Paul was the worst person in Rome that he could have hung out with. If you go back in one of Paul's letters, when he wrote it to Timothy and asked Timothy to come, he said, all have forsaken me. They've all left me. All my buds that was with me when I got thrown in jail ran for the hills. And I had no one. And who was he writing the letter to? His friend, Timothy. They got the letter and went to Rome. Isn't that cool? Isn't that the kind of friend you want to have? I tell you what, that friend right there can post things on my wall anytime he wants. Because I know he's like-minded. I know he's trustworthy. I know he's available. And the best part about what Paul said about Timothy was, look at verse 22. But you know his proven character. He was genuine. He didn't say he was your friend. He showed he was your friend. He didn't just talk the talk. He walked the walk. He was the real deal. He said he's proved it. Not by saying it, by showing it. I'm going to tell you what, a reputation is a great thing to have and a very important thing to protect. If you don't have your word and your reputation, this is where I was taught this as a young man from my granddaddy. Without your word and your reputation, you don't have anything. I don't care how rich your bank account is. I don't care how fat your house is, how nice your horse is, how good a horse trailer you got. It don't matter. But your reputation is built on your character. And your character is who you are in the valley, not on the mountaintop. See, it's easy to have good character sitting here in church around all those Christians. I want to know how many of y'all have good character on Monday. When you're out there banging around like I did that last week. We were so busy that I had to help get back on a lathe. I hadn't been on a lathe in a couple of years and smacked 3 fingers across the chuck jaw. And the first thing come to my mind was Scripture. Not out of that Bible. it was a different Bible. We want to be genuine. We want to be the real deal. You want to know that someone says you can trust that man, that person knows they can trust that man. See, he said Timothy was a proven man of character. He didn't do it by talking. He didn't do it with a whole bunch of hoopla. He didn't do it, he was a good friend by who he knew. It wasn't the connections. It wasn't the hookup. He said he's a good man. Why? Because he's a good man. And we see it every day, the way he lives his life and walks his life. You know, sooner or later, if you just watch people, I'm telling you, I mean, just watch young horses. We got that young colt now, and I watch him all the time because he's just an accident waiting to happen. But you can watch and see that he's got this gentle nature about it. He is nothing like his dad. He wants to be near you. He wants to be around you. He wants to be connected with you. His dad says, feed me and leave me alone. But I know this by watching that horse and seeing how he is and his character with other horses. You get to learn the ones that you're going to cull out. You know, I've watched ranchers sit atop a mesa and just stare at their cattle and watch their cattle. And when they come in and say, we're going to cull that one, we're going to cull that one, we're going to cull that one. How many of y'all have ever had any cattle? How many of y'all ever had any cattle likes to jump fences? I don't know how you do it, but any cow of mine jumps a fence one time. And when I catch him, he goes in the trailer. And he's probably one of your all's problem now. Because he went to the sale. Folks, if you got friends jumping fences, you need to cull. If you got friends that aren't available to you and trustworthy with you and genuine to you, you need to cull. You need to get rid of bad company in your lives. Put more good around. You want to put more joy in your life? You get around someone like Shane that's always smiling and yeehawing. I guarantee you'll walk around a little happier and a little smiling. You get in the car. I went many a mile up and down the road, rodeo, and I had one guy that if I had the nerve, I'd have left him at a gas station. I should have left him at a gas station. Matter of fact, other people have left him at a gas station. I just didn't know that and all. Matter of fact, when I got home, and my buddy that talked me into it, he was my saddle maker, Ray Raven, and he talked me into taking him and going along with him. And I said, "Why'd you do that to me?" He said, "Everybody's got to experience that once in their rodeo career." But I never went down the road again with him. Ever. I seen his character. I seen how he was. I don't dislike the man. I have nothing against the man. I pray for the man to find the Lord, if he hadn't already. But I can't hook my wagon to him, and I can't allow him to post things on my wall. How many of y'all ever identified somebody by that so-and-so's friend? You ever heard that? Well, who is she? That's so-and-so's friend. That can either be a friend like this, that's trustworthy and like-minded, available and genuine, or it can be a friend that the world wants you to have. That's a friend for the moment, that when times get tough, leave you alone, are only there to get what they can get. I'm not saying don't befriend people that are lost. I'm not saying do not hang out with people lost. I'm saying that you don't let them in to where they can post stuff on your wall. Be protective of this wall as you are of that one that's on that computer. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father God, we just love you and we thank you. Lord, we praise you and we just lift up to you. Lord, what an example we have to choose our friends by. Those true friends. Not our acquaintances, not the people that we're trying to reach or minister to, not the people that we co-work with, Lord, but I'm talking about the ones that we call friends. The ones that we open up our Facebook to, our life and our wall, and we allow them to post things. Father, let us be known as a friend. For your word tells us that to be a friend, to have a friend, we must first be a friend. Let us be a friend like Timothy. Let us be the one that is accountable, that is available, that is trustworthy. Let us be the real deal for those people that call us friends. Even in our times when it'd be easier just to stay in the chair, to stay in the AC. Sometimes it's hard to be a true friend. But Timothy, what an example. Lord, he got up and he left and he went to Rome and put his life in danger for a friend. Lord, he left him and went to a church that was in need. A true friend. Lord, let that be our footprint. That when we pass from this world, that our friends can say, that man right there was my buddy. That lady was the real deal. I loved her, and she loved me. He loved me and do anything for me. Lord, no greater friend than we have than your Son, Jesus Christ. That loved us so much that he left heaven and came to earth. That he died on the cross and shed his blood that we might be saved and forgiven for the sins that we've committed. Your word tells us that there's no greater love than one that would lay his life down for a friend. Jesus did that for us. And Lord, if there's one here today that doesn't know what it takes to be a Christian, that doesn't know what it means to walk with you, today they want to start that true friendship with you. Your word says all they have to do is believe in their heart that Jesus is Lord and confess with their mouth that you've raised him from the dead and they shall be saved. That whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. By no other name under heaven can it take place, Lord. And if they're here today Today they want to accept the friendship of that true friend that died on the cross. I pray that they would follow along with me in this prayer. That they would say, Jesus, I need you to come into my life. I need a Savior. I realize that you were God in the flesh, that you walked this earth to be my guide, and you died on that cross to pay my debt. What a friend I have in you. I know that God raised you on the third day, that you defeated death not for yourself, but for me, that I may never die, that I may spend eternity with you. I call on you now, Jesus, to come in and be the Lord and Master of my life. I surrender all that I am unto you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. And all God's people said, amen. If you said that prayer, please fill out one of them green sheets in the back. We don't want to hound you. We want to celebrate with you. We don't want to, be a pain in your tail, but we want to be able someone to help you start down that road that you've just chosen. I pray you all have a great Sunday afternoon. God bless and adios.
A chariot coming after me.